poop in the tub. I'm not gonna poop in the tub.
In December, I come across an interview with Sakurai translated by Source Gaming, and it sort of ended like this. Thankfully, Smash was a game that ended up supporting a lot of other games. It's been proven that including a character as a fighter generates publicity for said character and their respective series. I'm very pleased that Smash can positively promote other titles. If you ask me, this sounds like a guy that has no idea what he is doing with all of Nintendo's IPs. He makes the mark like an XCOM soldier can hit an alien from 5 feet away. This is the problem with his reasoning. Instead of treating the Smash Bros. Brand like an exclusive, elite group of video games, he treats it like a handkerchief to blow his nose in. Why? I had ESPN on one day. A guy, whom I couldn't get his name, was talking about the voting process for the Baseball Hall of Fame. He had this interesting bit that I caught. I only vote for just a few players every year, because I feel that only the elite, upper echelon of players should be in the Hall of Fame, otherwise it wouldn't be the Hall of Fame. He has a point. There has to be a boundary that separates all-time great characters from shameless promotional characters that only grow outdated in a matter of time. Sakurai wants new characters, fresh characters, okay. But why do they have to be Dark Pit, Wii Fit Trainer, and Corrin of all characters, when we're including them to a list that started with Mario, Donkey Kong, and Kirby? We are really scraping the bottom of the barrel. Here's a good question to ask Daddy Sakurai. If your favorite game franchises are so great and oozing with popularity, why would you even need to promote them? Did Mario ever need Smash Bros. To help consumers become aware of his video games? No. Zelda? Pokémon? Nope. How about Splatoon? A game that you didn't promote that much. Did it need Smash Bros. To sell over 4 million copies on a console that only sold over 13 million units? No. What happened to these franchises? These franchises marketed themselves. They didn't have Super Smash Bros. In 1984. They greatly exceeded the company's expectations, which is why they are still big, marketable names to this day. Name one series that got a boost of sales due to some form of inclusion from Smash Bros. None. There is no series of Nintendo's that had gotten more popular. He keeps making the case of how Smash Bros. Has marketed Fire Emblem. The fact of the matter is, he's tried to shove Fire Emblem down our throats since Melee, and even when Nintendo decided to localize Fire Emblem games to North America and Europe, it still sold very poorly. The series had been on life support only until the Nintendo 3DS and Fire Emblem Awakening, along with Nintendo finally distributing free demos of their games. So no, Sakurai, you played virtually no part in popularizing Fire Emblem, if you could even consider it popularized. It may be selling over 1 million copies now, but it's no Splatoon. Bayonetta is another game. People can believe whatever they want about how she was quote-unquote voted in. It's clear that it was only due to the fact that her game sales flopped and her inclusion as Smash Bros. DLC was strictly to sell more copies of Bayonetta 2. When you think about her franchise, it's nowhere near the success of Street Fighter, Final Fantasy, or Mega Man. Why does Sakurai all of a sudden after 18 years need a fan ballot? And how in the world could his team have been able to finish Bayonetta from the end of it to the Smash Bros. Direct 8 weeks later? Here's another problem with his promotion philosophy, and I have mentioned this before, but with every Fire Emblem game comes new characters. It's character after character after character, like it's the next new smartphone on the market. I am aware about the new Fire Emblem Echoes game that will remake Alem's story, but don't tell me that's just another excuse to immortalize another flavor of the month Fire Emblem character. I mean, why does there have to be a new Smash Bros. Character for every Fire Emblem game that comes out? You have to think that most Smash Bros. Characters have either or both of these two things. A legacy and a future. A legacy means games have helped shape Nintendo into what it is today, And a future means Nintendo has faith that certain games can still make Nintendo money. When you think of Fire Emblem characters, the only character with a legacy is Marth, because he was the first main character. Ike, Robin, Lucina. They all have neither a legacy or a future. The series definitely has a future, but only in spin-off and non-canonical games can all these characters coexist. So what purpose do these old characters serve since they no longer have any games to promote at all? They're just there in Smash Brothers. Well, then why can't King K. Rool or Crystal just be there in Smash Brothers, if that's the case? That's a double standard if I have ever seen one. Smash Brothers should be treated less like an advertisement of Sakurai's pet projects and more like an actual Nintendo Hall of Fame. When Ryu and Cloud were announced as DLC, it attracted a lot of attention, as they were huge for Smash Brothers. Corrin and Bayonetta are laughable in comparison. As I keep stressing, Smash Brothers does not add value to games, but it's completely the other way around. There is a reason for Super Mario Bros. To have the most characters. There is absolutely no reason for a game series that has flopped for most of its life to have more characters than The Legend of Zelda. You know, that one launch title for Nintendo's new console? At least I know of one guy that's not going to buy it.